You're listening to the Confidence Within podcast. If you are a successful professional entrepreneur who is nonetheless struggling with the fear of public speaking, then you are in the right place. This podcast is all about igniting your inner confidence, learning to show up with genuine authority and brilliance, and becoming the best version of yourself. I'm your host, Victoria Lyazniansky, and welcome to my show. Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Confidence Within podcast. Today, I'm actually going to be answering a question from one of the podcast listeners. And by the way, if you would like me to answer your question, then make sure to submit it by going to question.confidencewithinpodcast.com. Again, it's question.confidencewithinpodcast.com. You will see a form there and you will be able to submit your question. And today's question is something that I'm being asked almost every single day. Why am I still struggling with public speaking anxiety when I've read so many books and I've watched so many videos and I've gone through programs and I've joined Toastmasters and nothing is working? What am I doing wrong? If this is a question you're asking yourself too, well, today you're going to find out the answer. And by the way, I love this question. I love this question so much because I've been there. This is a question that I personally have been asking myself a couple of decades ago when nothing I was doing was working, when I was struggling with really bad fear of public speaking, when even speaking up in meetings was challenging, when presenting on stage was absolutely terrifying, when being in the spotlight was literally my worst nightmare. So I understand this question, and now I know how to answer it. But before I give you the answer, I want you to understand. Public speaking anxiety is all in our head, right? This is not something external. This is not something real in the environment, right, that causes us to experience public speaking fear. It is literally in our head. And so in order to overcome public speaking anxiety, we literally need to change our thinking. We need to change how we're thinking about ourselves. We need to change how we're thinking about our audience. We need to change how we're thinking about public speaking in general. And so the reason you still haven't overcome your fear of public speaking is twofold. Number one is because most likely you are not learning the right things that will help you change your thinking. And number two, even if you are learning the right things, you are not taking them through the circle of mastery. And I'm going to explain both to you right now, okay? So number one, you're not learning the right things to change your thinking. Why? And here is the truth, and not to throw shade at anyone, but honestly, a lot of public speaking advice comes from people who never struggled with public speaking anxiety. That's the truth. There are a lot of people who teach you how to become confident in public speaking when they themselves never experienced speaking with all eyes on you, when your brain is frozen, when your palms are sweaty, when your knees are shaking, when you have this horrible feeling in the pit of your stomach, and when the only thought in your head is, they are judging me. They are about to discover that I'm a fraud, that I don't know anything, that I'm not an expert, a leader that they thought I was. I am about to fail. And it's not just that anxiety at the moment of speaking. It's days and days leading to a presentation when you're stressed, you're anxious, you're waking up at night. You dread going to work because you know that day is coming and you have to present. And if you've never experienced this, then how can you talk about becoming confident simply by just do it, just push through fear, just go and do it, and you'll be okay. And eventually, with enough practicing, you're going to become great. How is that helpful? And a lot of you who have been doing this for years and years and years, simply pushing through fear and practicing is not helping. You still feel this anxiety. And so the bottom line is, a lot of this advice of just do it and confidence will come, or gain more expertise and you'll become confident, or just practice, and you will be better. A lot of this advice is really not working because it's not based on the science of fear. And if you understand the science of fear, you know that simply by pushing through fear when it comes to public speaking is not going to make you confident. What you're doing when you keep on practicing and pushing through fear is you are creating a habit of always feeling anxious when you speak. It literally becomes a habit. You stand up, all eyes are on you, and you immediately start feeling anxious. And so the reason why you haven't overcome your public speaking anxiety yet is because you have not learned the right things. You have not learned exactly what works. And some of you are maybe saying, wait, but I am learning the right things. I'm sure I'm learning the right things. Okay. If you think you're learning the right things, then the reason why you have not overcome your fear of public speaking yet is because you are not taking what you learn through the circle of mastery. So let me explain to you what the circle of mastery is. This truly gives us a foundation of learning anything in life. It's not just public speaking, it's not just communication skills, it's not just confidence. The circle of mastery applies to anything you will ever learn in life. And if you understand it, you're literally going to propel yourself forward. So the very first step in the circle of mastery is to learn something. Now, learning something is the easiest and the most pleasant thing ever. Because, let's face it, we all love learning. It gives us a really good feeling like, oh, I'm bettering myself. I am knowing more. Look at me. And it's easy, right? How do we learn? We read, we watch, we listen. Learning as a process is a very easy process. Unfortunately, when you just learn and stop at that, you don't retain what you learn. You may retain something, but for the most part, you're gonna lose it. And so when it comes to public speaking confidence, even if you're learning the right things, if you simply stop at learning, you are not going to see any changes in yourself. You need to continue going through the circle of mastery. Step number 2 in the circle of mastery is to implement what you learned. What does it mean to implement? I'm just going to spell it out because I know for a lot of people, implementing is such a general term that they don't really understand how to apply it in real life. How do you implement? Well, in my coaching program, when I work with my clients, they're learning from me, right? And they're learning a lot. And I'm always reminding them, don't get overwhelmed. Only take a few things at a time through the circle of mastery. So you take what you learn, just a few things, and you implement them wherever you are. If, let's say, you have a business, then you take them to your business. You're at work, take them to work. Every single day, you're going to have opportunities to implement and practice what you have just learned. Are you in meetings almost every day at work? Great. This is your playground. Take what you've learned and start thinking about it. At every meeting, you are trying to change the way you think. You're trying to apply these new things that you've just learned. You're trying to establish the new thinking. And then we get to number 3, internalize. What does it mean to internalize? For example, for my coaching clients, it's no longer, well, Victoria said I need to think this, so now I'm thinking this. No, it's becoming, oh, wait, it makes sense to me. I am now thinking those thoughts. It's becoming a part of my ecosystem. I am internalizing this. This is a very, very important step. A lot of people only think about learn, implement. No, this is not enough. It's learn, implement, but then internalize. Make it your own. And step number 4, form a habit. What does it mean to form a habit? You've implemented and you've internalized what you've just learned. But now you're thinking about it and forming a habit around thinking a certain way. And what it means is that when you go into that meeting, you don't have to remind yourself, oh, I need to think this new thing that I've just learned. That thinking now becomes a habit. You don't remind yourself to think that way, you're just thinking that way. When your new thinking becomes a habit like this, this is when you are on your way to mastering that specific thing. So in my program, I'm teaching my clients to take everything that they are learning, everything that I teach inside my anxiety to authority framework, and take it step by step through the circle of mastery. Implement, internalize, form a habit, master. Can you see how this way of learning can completely change your life? Especially when it comes to public speaking confidence. When you are learning the right things, and then you're taking them through the circle of mastery correctly, and you're mastering that concept. This is where you're changing your thinking for good. It's very hard to go back in your thinking to how you thought before when you formed a habit around new thinking. You've changed your thinking, which means you've changed your actions, you've changed your outcomes. You're a completely different person. This is how you build public speaking confidence. And so to reiterate, what are you doing wrong? Why nothing you've tried has worked? Because of two reasons. Number one, you're probably not learning the right things. Number two, even if you're learning the right things, you're probably not taking them through the complete circle of mastery. Does it make sense? Do you understand why overcoming public speaking fear is so difficult, but also is so possible? And why once you do it, you never go back. Your public speaking confidence stays with you forever. And of course, if you would like to learn more about my anxiety to authority framework and how I work with my clients, I'm happy to tell you more about it. Book a strategy call with me where we will dive deep into what challenges you're facing, where you would like to be in your career, and I'm going to help you close that gap. You can book the strategy call with me by going to www.brilliantspeakersacademy.com. Again, it's www.brilliantspeakersacademy.com. All right, I hope this was helpful, and if you have any more questions for me, make sure to submit them, and I will answer them right here on this podcast. And to submit, go to question.confidencewithinpodcast.com. I hope you have a fantastic week, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.